guys, what's going on? This is Jason with JWClassicVW, and welcome to my garage and my 1956 old window ragtop Goose. And I didn't know if you knew or not, but I like to name my engines too, and I finally got a name for the 300 plus horsepower turbo EFI build, and I think it suits her. So let's just kind of catch up what's going on. Yeah, you saw a little bit of a leak going on there with the valve cover gasket, and if you've been in the Volkswagen world for any kind of duration of time, oil leaks are kind of part of the process. Well, I was out last weekend, went to a Cars and Coffee, got on the freeway, was doing some speed limit speeds. Yeah, speed limit speeds, we're gonna go with that. Well, we got a couple leaks to work on, but that's not what we're talking about today, guys. You tuned in because we're talking about full flow oil systems. Do you need it? What is it? Jay, do I need it on my stock setup? Is it something that's needed for high performance setups, or is it good just in general? Well, got lots of answers for you guys. There's quite a few different options you can go with a full flow system. We're going to get right into that after this intro. See you in a second, guys. The board. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time at the board because I kind of feel like it's death by PowerPoint when it comes to the board. So these are the four options that I'm looking at. So if you have like a stock setup, a stock 40 horse engine, and you've got the old, smaller oil cooler that's on the top of it, you can just do a Doghouse oil cooler upgrade. And what that does is you end up replacing your shroud. Not like this shroud right here. That's a Bernie Bergman fan shroud, and would definitely help out with cooling. What I'm talking about is you're replacing that shroud, the one up there. See, the one on the left, that's the old school one, and the one on the right is the Doghouse oil cooler. Oh boy, we are jumping down memory lane right here, guys. This is the fan shroud to my 2276 naturally aspirated motor, or engine. You guys are gonna kill me on the terminology, I know, but this one right here is a Doghouse oil cooler type of fan shroud. And the big difference that you'll see is on the back side, it's got this doodad. It allows the Doghouse oil cooler, which is probably about twice the size of the stock oil cooler, to be encompassed within the fan shroud itself. And air gets pushed over the oil cooler and out through the back side, the back engine tin, over the transmission. And on the stock setup, you just don't have that. Another big difference is the size of the fan. The fan is a little bit bigger when it comes to this fan shroud setup. So that is pretty cool. And it is, I would say, by far the easiest option when it comes to doing an upgrade to your oil cooler system. Now, number two, you're not adding an external oil cooler, but you're doing an external oil filter. And you would do that with a setup like this. Yeah, setup like that. It'll look somewhat like this right there, but there's a lot more plumbing going on there. Don't mind all the extra stuff, guys, because this is what happens when you do a computer. A Haltech computer, or any kind of ECU system. So like when you're looking underneath here and you see the two lines, like one of these lines goes back, actually it's coming from the oil cooler that's back up underneath here. Yeah, my Sebring oil cooler. And back to the filter. Well, you're not going to have that filter on just an external oil filter. Those two lines right there are just going to go right back down to the engine. And one's going to come from the engine through the oil filter, and the other ones go back down through into the case. Or in the case where I showed you with the pump that it has the in and the out, is going to go to the inside of that pump. All right, guys, we are moving on to option number three. Option number three now. We talked about one, the Doghouse oil cooler. We talked about two, just doing an external oil filter, which adds like filtration, which is great. It's a little bit better than that stock strainer on the bottom. Don't kill me, guys, all my stock guys out there. If you want to keep it stock, keep it stock. Got no problem with that. But if you want to do an upgrade, an external oil filter is a good option. Number three is running your stock oil cooler, or the stock, you can do it a stock oil cooler, or the Doghouse oil cooler, including the filter and the fan. So let's take your guys over to the bench and kind of show you what's going on with that. All right, guys, lots of options when it comes to the fan, the external oil cooler and fan type setup. We have the under the fender type setup here, which is from Cool Rides. Never forget those jack stand, guys. Never forget the jack stands. Okay, so here's my oil cooler. All right, this is an undermount fender undermount oil cooler. This one's cool. It helps keep the length of your lines down, which helps keep your pump from overworking, and also allows you to kind of hide it up underneath the fender. Yeah, that's cool. But if you do one on the torsion tube, like this one right here that I made a while back, video over here for reference, if you have a swing axle type setup, not an IRS, if you have an IRS type setup, you're not going to be able to run this one on your torsion tube. This option becomes more viable. Also, mounting it above your transmission, your oil cooler above your transmission becomes the option. Because this one in torsion tube, you're not going to be able to do it. There's also some other torsion tube options. This one's out there. I think it's by the guys over at F3. But they use the Sebring oil cooler setup that I use on my big motor. Yeah, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's show you. You want to see it? Okay. All right, guys. So there she is. That is the Sebring oil cooler that I installed underneath here, and it has the fan attachment on the top where the fan is part of it. I can't really get the camera up there very good. There it is. That's the fan on the top of the oil cooler, and pushes the hot air down up underneath, and it mounts to the torsion tube. Now, if you have a swing axle, that's not gonna, or well, that's what you run. That's what I'm running. If you have an IRS type setup, that is not gonna work because it's just not gonna go there. You're gonna have to do an option like under the fender well from the guys with their cool rides, or up above your transmission, which I don't really have that option because my fuel lines and my Haltech wideband controllers are up there. Cool beans, man, cool beans. So guys, it's that time of the video to remind you to, don't forget, like, share, and subscribe to this content if you're enjoying it, which we are. Hope you're learning something that helpful. If you need some help, check out the Facebook group right over there. And if you want to check out what's going on with JWClassicVW and keep up with it, we have a website. Ooh, check out the website, all kinds of good stuff. Pick yourself up a channel sticker. Ooh, help support the channel. And or a flag tag. And we're going to be getting some t-shirts and stuff soon. I'm looking at purchasing my own ability to print and make t-shirts. Should be rad. Yeah, now back to the video. All right, guys, it's time to talk about the number 4 option, the option that I'm going with my 2287 Turbo EFI build. It's a stock delete. So you end up deleting the stock oil cooler altogether, and you're just doing the external oil filter and cooler. Now, with the Bernie Bergman setup that I have going on here with Envy, that's right, guys, the new name for my engine is Envy. What do you think? I like it. Envy and Goose. Goose and Envy. It goes well together. Check it out, guys. The V for Envy. I know, I'm stupid, silly, whatever. So the Bernie Bergman fan shroud setup requires you to delete the oil cooler, the stock oil cooler, because you can't run it. Yeah, baby. So you have to do the external oil cooler and filter. And that's why I went with the Sebring, because it's really good. It's done a great job of keeping those temperatures right around, like, at the max, around 220 when I'm on the freeway cruising. And, you know, I've had to watch how I drive. If it starts getting over 220, or it looks like it's going to be moving over 220, dude, I slow down, guys. I slow down. And that's really what it comes down to. Do you really need an external oil cooler and filter, you know, besides your stock setup? It's not a bad idea to add some capacity, some oil capacity, if you have a motor or engine that requires it. Like if you have like you're running dual carbs, or you're running a turbo EFI or a turbo setup, you're probably going to want to run more oil capacity to get beyond that, you know, stock 3 quarts, because it's going to help out with cooling. It really is. And an external oil cooler is going to help out even more if you add the thermostatic bypass. So one more look over here at the board, guys. But these are our full flow type fittings. AN is the way to go. I'm not really a big fan of the serrated type fittings. Your oil lines can kind of pop off of those. I've had it happen one time, and one time was enough for me. So I upgraded to AN fittings on everything after that. MP offers all kinds of different options when it comes to external oil cooler and filters. You know, you can check those out at CSP1. Your options kind of change if you have an IRS versus the swing axle. You can't really do one of these external oil coolers like this that mount to the torsion tube. You have to do one that's either in the fender, like from Cool Rides, or one that mounts above the transmission. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. External oil cooler, external oil filter. Options. Do you need to run it? I would say if you're doing something besides stock setup, then yes. I would definitely run an external oil cooler and filter. If you have a stock type setup, there's no real, I would say, there's no real need for it. Just pay attention to your tune. Pay attention to your seals, all the other stuff, your tins, all that has to be in place, guys, because you're going to have your engine overheating if you don't. That's it for today, guys. Appreciate all you. Appreciate all my new subscribers. You guys are great. Don't forget to join the Facebook group and check out the Instagram. And or the website. Yeah, the website. Good stuff, guys. I'll see you in the next one. This is Jason from JWClassicVW, and I'm out.